Unturned Guardian Angel is a challenge where I have to find a random target and protect them from anything I consider a threat, so I might accidentally shoot my target's best friend. Next, I'm not allowed to take out my own target, but I am allowed to break their bones if I need to make an escape. As long as the target survives, it's fair game. Here are some extra rules I made along the way. Now that that's out of the way, let's begin. I spawn in game and challenge begins. First I have to get some gear before I look for the target. I spawned next to a farm, so I quickly rushed over in hope to find a weapon. I am playing with 60 players, so getting control over the place is my first priority. I finished looting the house and full moon started rising. I took that opportunity to farm some XP to make my job somewhat easier, and with a little luck I find myself a chainsaw. Some time passes and I hear that someone is nearby. I take aim, and as I try to shoot, I realize I forgot to load an arrow. Lucky for me, these guys are playing with sounds off. Realizing I'm invisible to these players, I took my sweet time before shooting. I ended up grinding zombies and fighting 2 persistent players that kept coming back until the full moon fell. I found some good loot and had more than enough ammo, but I was in desperate need for medical supplies. I decided to make a regen kick in, so I used one of the seeds and fertilizers on the ground. I turn around and you won't believe it. I free up some inventory space to quickly bring everything I can turn to cloth in one place. But before I can turn it into cloth, I have to secure the area. I make quick work of this player and check if there is someone coming to ambush me. There was a team of 2 players coming after me, so I decide that cloth is simply not worth the risk. I make my way to the camp and see some free loot on the floor. I open my inventory and realize that something is missing. I don't see my prized rifle in this inventory.
Bruh.
I finish looting the camp and start making my way to the city, in hope to find a viable target. This was going to be my target, but I kinda want his backpack, so turns out he's gonna be my bounty target instead. He takes out one of the players, so all I have to do is wait for him to get greedy. Not even a minute passes and I collect my bounty. I was finally prepared to find some random guy to protect. I make my way to the city, get on the high ground and take a break. Finding a good target turned out to be harder than I expected. Most players were in huge teams, and as you know, I'm trying to avoid that. I find this duo but get interrupted as I heard footsteps approaching me. I spare his life, so he decided to join in on the action. And most importantly, he didn't try to hit me once before leaving. Looking for a better spot, I forced my way inside one of the tall buildings, in hope to find anyone at this point. I was loading my magazines and I hear someone shooting nearby. After some thinking, I decide he is going to be my first target, so I look at the compass to see where he is going and carefully follow him. I climb the hill and he was nowhere to be found. Knowing he couldn't have gone far, I assumed he was in one of the bases, and I am not willing to wait for someone that could just log off. I put him off my list and quickly find a new target. Thinking this guy will do the trick, I try to hide and follow him from a distance, but he already knew I was there and decided to fight me. After the fight, certain someone starts shooting at me from behind. I choke the one shot I needed to win the fight, pick the risky move, and get punished, so I have to restart and try again. I start off with a successful ambush that was almost denied due to my poor connection. I kinda just stole the sport shot while nobody was looking, and just so happened to open my inventory and find a single magazine. Anyway, when that was over, I was fighting this duo, but I could not get in range of the guy that has a gun. I decided to pull out my own rifle, only to realize that, man, there's nothing in there. Trying to switch back to shotgun gets me hit, and now time is ticking. However, it turns out they used up all of their ammo, so they did this big brain move called rushing a guy with a shotgun. I quickly take them out with my last shots and manage to heal just before I lose connection to the server. After that, I decide that this man will be my next target. It didn't take him long to see me following him, and let's just say it's not my fault, I don't have a lot to work with. After realizing the tables have turned and he is now following me, I decide that intimidation is the best way to make him leave me alone. Since that failed, I pull the oldest trick in the book and pretend like I'm leaving. which finally gets him to move for a good 10 seconds before he stops again. See, this is a problem with newer players. They take forever to get anywhere. At this point, I'm just waiting for him to turn Minecraft music on and start punching wood. But out of nowhere, while I was just checking my inventory and minding my own business, I mean, if I wasn't there, he probably would have attacked my target, so I think we should count that as a win. He loots the guy, and you won't believe it, he wants to share the loot with me. This just goes to show how new he is to the game. He still trusts other players. It was at that moment I decided I would do everything in my power to protect him from dangers lurking in every corner. I gave him this compass as a gift, in hope he finds some place to go looting, because at this rate we are not going to get anywhere. After wandering around for what feels like forever, he started fighting some zombies. Seeing that he knows how to fight zombies was a relief, because it's one less thing I have to worry about. He starts dumpster diving. He is either having a party in there or drowning in trash. Doubts fill my head and I decide to go look for him. A quick look around confirms that I have indeed lost my target. Don't worry, I did find out what actually happened to him in the end. I felt really bad now that I realized that my compass may have led this poor player to his end. After that heartbreaking defeat, I make my way to the city, where I will find someone to take my mind off all the past fails. I quickly found my next target, and seeing how much noise he is making, there is gonna be players hunting them down. And this target was aggressive. And that's not good, considering he's currently rushing an enemy player that I can confirm has a shotgun in his back pocket. I put my faith into my target, and lucky me, target is still alive. It appears my target has a friend. Hopefully they won't make things boring. I patiently waited for them to move, but heard footsteps approaching from behind me. I see a threat approach my target, and knowing my target is behind cover, I feel pretty good at this situation. I wait for him to cause some chaos, so I can take him out without my targets noticing. I also may have wanted to make it a little more dramatic, but never mind that. I quickly took the threat down, and the problem I was afraid of even before I started the challenge has now been realized. A target that knows you're there won't move. In fact, this guy managed to come back for his loot before those guys even left the building. I see that this player is thirsty for revenge. But seeing that he was not attacked suggests that my targets have left the building. I decide to relocate and try to quickly find them. It didn't take me long to realize that they were long gone. What exactly happened? I looked back and turns out that my target's friend was ambushed and taken out. So now my target is getting chased, all the while I'm waiting for some chaos to look like a hero. At least it didn't take me long to find my next target, and as you can see, I'm going with anything now. Seeing the path my target is taking makes me think he will try to loot the camp. A minute passes and he's still not trying to loot the camp. I looked around the city and this man is gone, so I go to investigate where I last saw him. I heard some footsteps, so I decide to check it out. However, I start to think about this logically. Those noises were probably in my head, and I am finally going insane. Just as I thought it was safe, I ended up getting ambushed by my own target. After getting the boring part out of the way, also known as looting for this cursed challenge, I found my next potential target. He was walking past me, and I thought to myself, he's gonna flick and shoot me in the face. Well, that's too bad, let's just get rid of him. I ended up spotting this gamer in the distance. I let this flanker hit him because I kinda wanted the zombie to jumpscare him. I followed him around and this zombie decides to ruin my cover. I did try to quietly silence him, but my target jumps out of nowhere. To rub some salt in the wound, the zombie that was chasing him just decides to make a turn towards me for no reason. I waited whole 5 seconds for things to calm down and decide that he may as well just forgot I exist. I start sneaking closer to see what he is doing, and you won't believe it, this guy had the same idea. Seeing as he is not moving, I decide to sneak close and maybe give him a slap or something, only to discover that yeah, that's his backpack. As it turns out, he was probably taken out by a crawler in one shot, because I allowed that flanker to hit him. Nothing interesting happened after that. I kinda just watched some guy fall while trying to base raid, and got ambushed while looking for a target. As for my last target, I simply followed them for a while, found a paintball gun that I was gonna use to protect them, brave, I know. I tried to take the backpack without him noticing, failed, and he disconnected. I decided to stop the challenge after that and call it a day. I hope it was at least entertaining for you guys. If it was, consider dropping a like and subscribing. You can always unsubscribe if you change your mind.